It's the news clean water advocates were waiting for. New federal regulations are putting strict limits on forever chemicals that are found in drinking water.
News 8 Now's Allison Fergit met with advocates today who hope this will bring about wider change throughout Wisconsin. Good evening, Allison.
Ken and Emily, PFAS are found in many everyday products, but they're known to have serious health impacts, and they're being found more often in water systems like this one. The EPA says these new regulations will help save thousands of lives.
Super exciting, long time coming.
New federal regulations require public water systems to test for 6 different kinds of PFAS. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources set the state standard for PFAS contamination to 70 parts per trillion a few years ago.
We've known forever that the 70 parts per trillion was terribly outdated.
The new regulation moves the standard down to just 4 parts per trillion, the equivalent of 4 drops of water in 20 Olympic-sized swimming pools.
This is an investment in people's health. PFAS is a health crisis, right? It's not an inconvenience. It's a health crisis.
The EPA estimates 6 to 10% of the nation's water systems will need to make changes, and that could include systems in the Cooley region and Chippewa Valley. Data shared in 2023 shows La Crosse's water utility could violate the new standards. Same can be said for Eau Claire's waterworks. Public water systems will have until 2029 to reduce their PFAS contamination levels. The new regulations target municipal water systems, not groundwater, which is what residents in the town of Campbell rely on for their drinking water.
When your well gets contaminated, currently there's no groundwater standard to help you out. It's your personal well, it's your personal responsibility.
Although the new regulations will not directly help the town as it deals with widespread PFAS contamination, Supervisor Lee Donahue says it could have a trickle-down effect.
I think it's definitely an impetus for further work.
The new federal regulations come as Wisconsin politicians continue to argue over funding set aside to help communities like the town of Campbell that are impacted by PFAS. The $125 million is currently held up in the state's Joint Finance Committee.
I don't understand how this has become a political issue.
We need to move beyond just the partisan politics in this.
Governor Tony Evers has now called on that committee to hold a special session on Tuesday, April 16th. State Senator Brad Pfaff is optimistic the federal regulations will lead to more agreement between the two parties.
Now that the federal government is finally stepping forward, hopefully that can bring, on a bipartisan basis, more agreement that more needs to be done.
But if past special sessions are telling, not much should be expected to come from it.
Allowing $125 million to sit in an account and not help the people that are seriously hurting just doesn't begin to make sense.
So we will have to see how that special session goes on Tuesday, but for now, cities like La Crosse are going to be thinking about how they can monitor their PFAS levels and how they can ultimately reduce them. Live in La Crosse, Allison Fergit, Ken and Emily, back to you.
All right, thank you, Allison.